Healthier, Happier Hour. We are so glad you're here. I'm Kiersten.
And I'm Carli, and we are here. We're going to help you get healthy, connect in your relationships, and enjoy your life. Woo! Woo! Let's go.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm already laughing quite a bit, but I'm not going to do any reveal just in case. But it feels good to laugh.
I know. It does.
To laugh.
It's good to laugh. It feels good to laugh. It does. It feels really good to laugh. Bring the sunshine in. Welcome to our Healthier, Happier Hour. We've had some traditional happy hours recently.
Yeah.
Not today. I've got my coffee, and I have to be honest, it's really boring. Aside from the fact that earlier today, I did find a children's toy in my coffee.
In your coffee.
It sure did. Mm-hmm. Sure did. Yep. It was Barbie's shoe. So you're welcome for that.
Ooh, you could have swallowed that.
Thank you. I know. I was like,
brutal.
What is this? Spitting it out. But
I literally would have swallowed that. So I'm glad you're a more careful sipper than I am. Because especially when it's not super hot. Just chugging the coffee.
That's how you know you're living the mom life right there. You find random plastic toys in your drinks all the time. Otherwise, cheers to that. What are you sipping on over there?
I'm drinking coffee of the boring variety as well.
The boring variety.
No, it's actually flavored, but the coffee beans flavored. And then almond milk, and that's it, because I was asking for lots of help today. And so one of the things, and I did not want to make it complicated. And so I was like, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you help me here? And then Addison's like, Mom, can I go shopping in your closet? Which, oh my goodness, I love it. He's been borrowing my clothes lately. And she's like, do you mind? She was kind of apologizing for him. Please don't. I love it. Just as long as you're going to take care of it. And give it back eventually. So it has been so cute.
That's the best. I remember feeling like such a grown-up and this whole new level of connection with my mom when she let me start borrowing her stuff. We've up-leveled now, Mom. You're letting me borrow your clothes? Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yay. Cheers to that. And cheers to y'all, wherever you are, whatever you're drinking. We're so pumped that you're here. Can't wait to dig in today and to give you, wait a second. What's your mug say?
I always have to have an inspirational message. It says, see the good. And it looks very Joanna Gaines. I don't know if it is or not.
It does. It's screaming Magnolia.
I know. I think I bought it out of the Target section. Isn't that her?
Yeah.
Doesn't she? Sure is. Or she maybe used to. I don't know. Anyway, this is a little bit old, but see the good is always relevant.
Yes, it is. See the good. Beautiful. I'm here for it. Well, we are going to see the good today. That's 100%. And let me let you know where we're going.
Okay.
But before we get there, we are going to do cheers or tears. But where we're headed, so stick around. We are going to be digging into, as we move into the busy, fun, exciting season of summer and all the things, and we're striving and we have all these goals and things we want to do and adventures and fun, like family activities. And, my mind is just spinning in a million different directions. And I feel like everyone's is, how do we balance all of that, living life and being in the moment and being present with also keeping realistic goals? How do we juggle those different things? So we'll get into it a little bit later. And I'm curious to know your thoughts on what that looks like and how we can do that. So that's where we're headed. But before we get into that, I want to know from you, what's been a cheers or tears moment you've experienced recently?
I'm glad you said recent, because it's not too recent. Yes and no. So I'm going to do, it's a 80% cheers and 20% tears. How about that?
Okay. Love it.
I'm dividing them up in the percentages. She's gone there. It's happened.
Honestly, probably more realistic.
Yeah. There you go. I like it. So, okay. you know this, but our listeners do not, I don't think. But I just was prepping. So part of the cheers has to do with prepping for this major surgery I had. And then part of the cheers, let's just celebrate that I made it out of surgery. I came out on the other side of this major surgery I had, and it's been a rough recovery, but that's not what I'm like really thinking. I'm like, what's my cheers or tears? And it's that I gave myself permission, and even the way I like said it, I'm jumbling up my story, but basically I gave myself permission to take a day off prior to surgery. And I kind of was like to myself, like, even though it was just me, I'm like, I think I'm going to give myself a mini yes day. So I had a doctor's appointment that day, but I was like, what do I want? You know, I'm usually not having time to do anything. It feels like I took the day off. I, you know, so now I have my do not disturb on for work, and like, oh my goodness. So I went to TJ Maxx. I got like 2 really comfy outfits. I got this new shirt for Healthier, Happier, Pink Floyd.
Yes.
And the guy at the register checking me out, he's like, oh, you know, just trying to make small talk with me. What you up to today? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I heard myself saying, and I was like, yes, that's a cheers. I heard myself saying, I gave myself a day off. Like, I didn't, you know, of course I had to request it and blah, 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 whatever. But I chose that for myself. And so that is like a huge cheers. And then another thing is like post surgery, I'm just so grateful for all like generosity and things. It's really hard, especially, you know, the first couple weeks when I can't do all these like very normal things. And to have my husband and friends coming by and like dropping off flowers and notes and just like this awesome pillow that like helps me, because I said earlier when I laugh, like it hurts to laugh, but it feels good to laugh. So
Yeah.
it's just so great. But the 20% is it's been, whoa, a heck of a recovery.
Yeah.
And I knew that going in and all that. So I was expecting it. Yet there's always the unexpected of, you know, being allergic to possibly the stitches or the glue or something, and then literally like have poison ivy feeling. It's not literal poison ivy, but it's like the dots and so itchy.
Right.
In the middle of the night, showering, can't sleep because I'm so itchy. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? So it's been the full gamut, and it's been all of it. And if we didn't have the itchiness, I wouldn't appreciate that I'm barely itchy now, so I'm almost there.
Yeah. Yes. That's amazing. And I'm so proud of you for even just like owning and saying, like, first of all, TJ Maxx, great place to go. But second of all, for owning and saying, like, yeah, I gave myself a day off. You know what I mean? Just like there's so much power in what we say and in claiming things. And when we do that, especially to another person, it's like, yeah, this is really what I did. And it feels so good to be able to do that. So, yay, that's amazing. Way to go.
Yeah. Cheers.
Huge cheers all around. Obviously, like bigger picture, surgery went well.
Yeah.
You're recovering, you're healthy, like all of those things, even more important. So, huge cheers.
Did you hear that swallow? That was the loudest swallow I've had probably 2 weeks. I was like,
you're welcome, everyone.
Spit my coffee out everywhere.
Was it a Barbie shoe?
What's that?
Was there a Barbie shoe in there?
Maybe.
It was just hiding.
It's gone now.
It's gone. She's going to reappear later. Watch out.
No, Ad is not into Barbies. Well, she never really went to the Barbie phase, but I did take her to the Barbie movie. I watched it first and I was like, oh yeah, she can handle this. And so then we went to the Barbie movie together and like a mom-daughter date. It was so fun.
Well, maybe she slipped a Barbie shoe in your coffee. She's
like,
didn't
Mom,
tell you.
Cheers.
Mm-hmm. Cheers to that, man. Well, great practice for all of us is just, even thinking about, like, I love that you differentiated between like, here's 80% and 20%, because even in most situations in life, it is rare to have something that's like 100% a cheer or 100% a tear. Like most of our experiences as humans, fall somewhere in the middle, like they're gray. And so it's okay to look at our life and be like, hey, this was mostly a cheers or mostly a tears, but to give ourselves that time to reflect every day. So, quick challenge to y'all listening is just at the end of the day today, before you go to bed, or, even right now, pause, take 10, 20, 30 seconds and bring something to mind that you're grateful for. Bring a cheers to mind, bring a tears to mind, and own, like, what can I learn from this? What can I take away from this? What does this mean for me? And how can I, apply this to my life? And it's okay if it's not 100% either way. So huge, even just like lesson in that moment that you shared for all of us. So thanks for being real and sharing that vulnerable part of your story.
That's so good. It's so good the way you just explained that. And yes, we need that as a soundbite. Like, I need that on repeat, how you just said that, because it's such a perspective. And so much of our health has to do with the perspective that we have, honestly. Like, it's hard to put our finger on it. There's so much research, like even surgery outcomes.
Yeah.
There's so much that is like hard to put our finger on, but when you have hope and you have a reason to live and you have purpose and you're willing to fight when you need to fight, like the outcomes can just be so much better.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you said it in that way. Like, I feel like I'm getting like, oh my gosh, because this is real. I mean, so much about our show is fun and positive and light, and then we get into some real stuff. And so it's incredible. And I don't know. I mean, I always tear, it's one of my other
Bring on
they're like, actually, my kids are like, are you crying now? Happy tear? And so I have a little happy tear action going on. So thank you for that, Carli.
Yeah. No, that's it. Like, that's real. And that's what we're here to do is like be in all of the cheers and the tears moments, whether they're the happy tears or like the hard tears, because this is challenging tears moments, like all the middle stuff, and that's what most of our life is made up of, is something in between, like peaks and the valleys. So, and we want to be there to do it with you. So
that's right. I'm excited to get into what you talked about, because already and the messy middle, we talked about that a lot, and we'll continue to talk about that, but in a previous episode. So it's in the title. So it's a couple episodes back. After you're done here, let's be good on our brains and finish the loop. My husband's good at this, teaching the kids to like finish what we're doing. So finish with us here. And then, if you're wanting to binge or catch up, check out that one.
Yeah, it's a good one. So I'm hoping that we could spend some time that would maybe be helpful. I know for sure it'd probably be helpful for the two of us. And I think many of our listeners, just based on some conversations that I've had recently with people, friends and clients and neighbors and things, is we're like launching into this busy season. We had an episode recently as well, kind of about like it being that time of year, right? But as we, kind of have like this busy season, how do we balance or juggle having these like very high expectations of ourselves with wanting to kind of like be in the moment and live life, and this kind of came from this idea or this thought. I was having a conversation recently with a friend.
Did you just say idea? Did you just say idea?
Say what?
I thought you just like Mr. Rogers said idea.
Idea?
Idea instead of idea.
Oh, no. idea.
Rewind the
I
clip.
had an idea.
You need to see this.
No.
I was going to comment earlier. I'm loving your accent today. It's making me so happy.
I
And
do not have an accent.
I mean, it's your normal accent, but just when you really get into it and you're like, that you
If
get.
my sisters listen to this, they're going to give me so much crap.
Oh, sorry. Sorry for that. I'm sorry. Okay. So balancing the, okay, sorry. I got totally
That's
distracted.
okay.
I was like, did you say idea? Balancing, go.
Balancing, this idea, like balancing anything that we want to do, right? Like we have a goal, we want to do all the things, we want to, whether it's like getting fit or it's, being really healthy or it is, having more balance in our work and our life with being present or being in the moment or just like, people use this very vague phrase and I'm using vague phrases for both of these, but living life, right? This kind of stemmed from a conversation I had recently with another mom who she was kind of juggling between she's kind of on this like non-toxic journey, right? And this very big, like in our world right now, right? Of like eliminating, I just made up a word, eliminating like toxins from her home. And so she was kind of like, we were in this conversation about like, how do I like eliminate toxins from like my kids' food, but still enjoy like life. Like I still want to enjoy food. I still want them to enjoy celebrations and enjoy birthday parties. And I'm going to let them do that when we're doing that. But I also want to be intentional where I can be intentional. And so it just got me thinking, I think that's a great mindset. How do we do that, in our whole life, right? And especially as we're like launching into, the season of the summer where we tend to find ourselves just in a different kind of rhythm than we are during a lot of the other times of the year, right? Like, how do we do that same thing? How do we remain in this momentum, whatever that is that we want to do, while still being forward moving in our goals and enjoying our life in whatever capacity that looks like?
Yeah. I like your example with, I'm assuming like toxins, like dyes, artificial things. I mean, added sugar is a big one that I know it's like everywhere in our world, but yet we know that it's like, so that's one of those things for me, right? Is finding that balance. Cause I know if I tell my kids or myself, you can't have any added sugar ever, then that feels like an unsurmountable mountain in some ways. And then I always get nervous from a parenting perspective that they're going to go off the rails. And some of that I don't have control of, but some of it, it's like, okay, let's teach them how to live in the world we live as well without, I guess isolating them. I don't know if that makes sense. And so what came up for me in your example? And the thing is like, this is why it's cool that we're going to continue to do our weekly episodes every Wednesday, dropping Healthier, Happier Hour, because there's so many of these very specific things. This is why we do individual coaching and group coaching, because in the group coaching, it's small group. And even when, it's a bigger group, you still have a chance to get very granular and specific, like this example. So all this to say, like, I guess I'm not saying this for every single example of wanting to pursue a goal and live your best life. But when you're with your example with toxins in our food and maybe in our cleaning and air and stuff like that, I think it's cool to think about, and we didn't plan this. I had no idea Carli was going to bring this up as an example or a topic, but didn't I say 80% cheers and 20% tears?
Yeah.
So 80, like what comes up for me, and this is so actionable, is the 80-20 rule. So what if you taught your kids, like your example seems to like have to do with parenting as well. But you can just apply this to your own life too. In your example is 80% on goal, on point, that your actions are saying yes to your goal. And 20% is like splurge, letting it roll off you, letting it go, giving yourself that opportunity. Another thing I talk to my kids about, because I struggle with the added sugar thing. I don't want to always be like, oh, you can't have that. So we work on awareness of it. And so I actually used someone besides myself accidentally, which worked out perfect. Tip 101. Like I remember when my kids were like toddlers, is like use the timer as the bad guy, right? And something outside of yourself. So it's like, oh, timer went off. We're moving. It's that cute. And so I had, this is how crazy I am. I'm sure I was doing like prepping dinner. I think they were coming home from school. And so I was trying to help with the, after school hustle. And I had a presentation on. I was off camera and not on mute. I didn't need to be on camera or, but so it was a registered dietitian talking about added sugar. And so the kids heard her speaking of that. And so then I was like, ooh, perfect. So then I found a way to start talking about it. And so that now, especially Brady, is looking at the back of containers to get this awareness of, this mom, guess how many added sugars this one has? Guess, mom. And so it's been a conversation in our house. And then another tool that I do, so like use another teacher sometimes whenever you can, if you're trying to help facilitate that with your kids. I find that to be smoother. It's a little bit like path of less resistance for me. Anyway. And then the other thing is, and this is what I've found for myself. So I got in this habit for years and I slip back into it sometimes. It's been a minute since I've done it, but I get in this like habit of having like a latte a day. And that is a lot of sugar, a big expense, and just, a lot. And so
a latte.
And so it slips into like having it way too much. And so I tell my kids that example all the time. I was like, listen, when I was having a latte almost every single day, it was not special. And so now I allow myself to have one like fancy, expensive drink a week. And then otherwise I do it at home in such a way that I know everything that's going in it.
Right.
Anyway, that's really long-winded, but I want you to consume, as you're listening to this, the 80-20 rule. Where can I apply the 80-20 rule in my life when I'm trying to not be like, I'm a robot. Like I hate when I all of a sudden feel like a robot, because one of my values is I want to be fun and spontaneous and live my best life. And I want that for my kids and my husband and just the mood and my friends. And it always, and then also kind of how can you make it special? And it is more special when it's something that you have some rhythm on, that you let yourself. Like if I always let myself have a yes day every single day, like do whatever I wanted, that wouldn't have been impactful and special for me to take that yes day the day before my surgery. And it was like, whew, so awesome. Highly suggest.
Yeah.
Anyone out there that is having something big happening that you're like, this is something hard and big that I have to do. How can you be really generous to yourself and give yourself that, treat.
Exactly. When you just hit on something, I think that is so significant is that, like there's this balance of having structures in place that allows us freedom, right? Like there's a reason that we have structure, and structure, I talk to my kids about this all the time, but it's true for us as adults. When we have structures, not like rigid rules, but structures and boundaries for ourselves, those allow us to have freedom, right? They allow us to be spontaneous, like you were talking about. And so when we have these boundaries, we have these structures, we can operate freely within that. Like we can be spontaneous. We know when we're planning like for a trip in the summer, like, oh, okay, I'm going on this trip. That's not to say like, okay, well, I'm going to starve myself before the trip and I'm going to work out, 5 hours every day so I can feel great in my swimsuit and be running on the beach and then go crazy and splurge every single day on my trip. No, like it's to allow ourselves to operate before and after and during, to know, to have balance and to feel beforehand, during, and while we're there, like, okay, I'm operating in a regular routine of moving my body, eating well, fueling myself because I have structure consistently that is allowing me spontaneity at home and while I'm there, right? Like, and I'll be honest, like when I'm on vacation, there's probably a little bit more than 20%.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's okay. Like that is okay.
If you look at your summer, maybe then, right?
Right.
And then like, okay, so if you also your example was obviously hyperbole, and we all know,
Yes.
hopefully we all know that another thing is that's not good for us, but that doesn't even work. It doesn't even work. Our body actually
not effective.
Freaks out, right? And so we're actually wanting to train our body. And honestly, when you're on vacation, Carli, a good gauge, like you said, like, yeah, me too. It's usually more than 20%. But where I really tune in on vacation or like a day of splurging, let's say, I even caution myself to say that because where I am currently, I've just seen enough where this is where I tune in. What is going to help me feel healthy and happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, when I was 18, it was different. I could splurge, go off the rails in all the ways for like days and not to affect me.
Oh, yeah.
It would probably take, when I was in college, it probably took, a week of going off the rails to really affect you or affect me.
But now,
no. And so I don't want to ruin, like, there's been some times where, like, you know this about me, and it's really annoying and weird, but I am, for whatever reason, I have actually one reason now that's supposedly justified, but we'll keep it fun. That carbonation affects me. And I've always known that. Like, I can't have too much carbonation. And so I've always said I'm like a hamster. I'm going to explode if I have too much carbonation. I remember one vacation.
I don't want that.
It was like there was this awesome pool party with a bunch of our friends. We were on vacation. And I went off the rails with carbonated adult drinks.
Kiersten did not explode.
I didn't explode, but I felt like I was. I was like, what is wrong?
Just as bad.
I was like, what is wrong with me? I feel so terrible. I'm like, literally, yeah, no. And okay, I know everyone listening is like, it's called gas, Kiersten. No, it's another level. This is not gas. This is something other than gas. Please don't drink it. It's called gas, Kiersten. But anyway, so I just remember because, when like, okay, I want to feel good tonight and tomorrow. I don't want to be out of commission tonight all night, which I was that night. Like, literally, like, what's wrong with me?
No. The rest of your trip. You come at me with my fiber water and you and your carbonated. beverages.
That's right. Come at me. So
Come on,
anyway,
bro.
so that's like
Yes.
interesting, or that's another like filter or perspective to look at is like, you want to feel good though. You don't want your
Right.
summer to be feeling like, I feel so gross.
Right. Exactly. So, yes. So if you could,
Dial
now
it in.
I'm just picturing us both like on the beach, fiber water, carbonated beverages, big hamsters like rolling around in the sand. It's a great visual, honestly. Who wants to join us?
We're really fun.
We're so fun. Oh my gosh. Wow. Man, what a great time. It'd be a
How
great
can we
time.
come back from that? I
We'll
don't.
bring our playlist.
Oh yeah,
It'll be a jam.
I already started working on that, by the way.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a kicker. It's gonna be a jam. Wow. Okay. So let's as fun as that would be,
Yeah.
we'll make it happen. We will. And y'all can join us if you want.
I'm all scared now.
There's been, I mean, I think honestly, this is like such a good framework to kind of look at and give ourselves like a vision for, okay, how we want to continue to operate and move into the next like chunk of time, the next little season that we're entering. So, we've talked through a bunch of different kind of ways to frame that. If you had to pick maybe like one or two questions or tidbits or like takeaways to give somebody, what would you say? What would be like the actionable takeaway that you would give to someone as kind of like a nugget, if you will?
Yeah. I think you kind of said it right there at the beginning, just a minute ago, is start with what you want. What you want to feel, what you want it to look like, what it might look like. Don't put a bunch of restrictions on yourself, though, right out the gate. You and I do this as a practice with our business, and I do it all the time with different aspects of my life. And so start with just really trying to open up what do you want. And I bet you, at least for me, once I started trying to do this more, it's actually really hard because our mindset is so tangled up. So give yourself grace and maybe come back to it a couple different times of like, oh yeah, what would I want this summer to look like or this vacation to look like? Or what are my priorities for this season or this day or whatever it is? And start there. And then once you get into the nitty gritty of it, once you kind of have a, as you said, loose structure that actually gives us freedom. Don't look at it like restricting you and don't build it like it's restricting you. Build it in a way that these boundaries and this structure gives you freedom. And when I look at that 20%, I know that I don't want to waste it on something I don't really like. If we're talking about added sugars, I am not going to waste it on something I like mediocre like. I'm going to save it for the good stuff, right? That I really like, and that it feels even more special. So I would say start there is just start to dream of what would be really awesome and don't restrict yourself to begin with. Obviously, the world and reality will restrict you eventually. But start with just like, what would be amazing? What would I love to see? What would I love the mood to be for our family or with, my partner and we're planning this vacation or whatever. And so to me, that's like part of the joy of it is having things on the calendar, having things I'm looking forward to in life that we're giving ourselves that gift. And so don't skip that like really fun part.
Yes. I love that. Such a good way to begin and a good like starting point, I think, too, to not skip over like the vision work too. Because I think sometimes we just jump into the plan without spending time looking at like, what do I want this to be? So I love that. I think that's huge.
I have an
and
idea.
I would add what?
Oh, go to no. What would you add? Sorry.
I was going to add like, two things. One, ask yourself like a cheers or tears. Like, build that into your routine if you can. If you already have that vision work and you're ready for the next thing, like start asking yourself, what's my cheers or tears today or this week? And then the second thing I'm going to ask you in a second is, how has this been healthier or happier for me? Like, how has this time, this season been healthier or happier, or this week or this day been healthier or happier? And I do want to ask you that because we've missed that a couple times, but I want to know, like, how has this time been healthier or happier for you? But I want to know what you were going to share as well.
Yeah. So, okay. It has been healthier, happier for me because I just gave myself a lot of grace getting here today, and I had asked for help, and Carli knows that it's not like it's foreign to me that I've asked my husband for help before, but it's just, I hate doing it every time I do a little bit. Hate is a strong word, but like, and I gave myself grace on it. And, my kids don't have school today, and they're just like helpful and joyful and stuff like that. They've kind of come to an age where it just feels like, and so I'm just appreciating that. So that has definitely been healthier, happier. It's like something that you and I, Carli, preach all the time and encourage you to do. And it's another level, practicing what you preach, right? Come as you are.
Yeah.
And we hope, I'm thankful that I did, and we hope you're glad that you showed up.
That's right.
So if it's cool, I'll try to be quick because I know we're coming up against the clock. I was thinking, one, just to make sure we're as a community making, like, here's how you can help us out. And then I want to walk you through something really quick as we end that would maybe give you some insight of something under the surface that you want for this next season, this summer. Okay. So we can walk through that. But before we do, what is something they can do? Like, as soon as you say it, pause, do it in 2 minutes or less, and come back for this walkthrough of that might give you this nugget that's going to skip 18 steps for your vision for your summer, that we can talk about. So what is something that they could do to help the happier our community get involved and be involved and take the next step? What do you think, Carli?
Yeah. Go and share. I mean, this episode, if it's been helpful for you, text it to a friend, share it with a friend. Make sure that you're following us here. Follow us on Instagram or at Healthier, Happier Hour. You definitely want to make sure you're part of our community. So you can do that by going to healthierhappierhour.com, join our community, get on our email list. We send out info about our free happy hours that we do, which is a smaller group, and you get some really good insider coaching, access to us more in a live event type situation in a room, which is huge and really powerful. So join our community there, healthierhappyhour.com. Find us on Instagram, all the social media channels, and share this episode or one of your favorite ones with a friend or a family member that would be helpful for them. So those are just some of the ways to get involved. DM us and let us know what you want to hear about on a future episode too, so that we can support you.
Awesome. I love it. Okay, so let's end with just like allowing yourself to drop your shoulders. Maybe sit up a little taller. Close your eyes if you're safe to do so. Roll your shoulders back and down 3 times. I love that momentum number of 3. And kind of give yourself this gift right now of knowing that everything else around you is going to be good. You can take this time, this moment. And your main job here is just to fill your belly up with air, allow to fill, and allow to empty. Your main job is just to notice what kind of comes up for you without judging. And let's start there. So we talked about wanting to have an amazing summer or a vacation that we're looking forward to. I want you to, or something else, or a goal that you're really excited about, but you're kind of nervous to do it in real life or in real life of what this next season is going to come up as. So whatever feels exciting and amazing to you, I want you to picture that right now. What comes up? What popped into your brain? Was it an image of you doing a certain goal? Was it a specific vacation or a desire for a vacation? Was it just wanting to enjoy your daily life? And I want you to visualize that and just allow yourself to dream there and be really curious and notice what comes up. Think about that point in the movie where they turn the music up. Do that on your video clip right now. Turn the music up on it, where the main character is like running through the streets. What do they do? What's your movie showing? Are they high-fiving? Are they hugging? Who do you see? And then what is the feeling that your heart wants? And it's there for a reason. Like, we've talked to so many people in our careers, Carli and I, and we'll continue to. And it's so interesting to me when someone has this like dream that they're brave enough to share, or this fear even, or complaint, how they want their life to change in a positive way. And they think that it's not supposed to be there or something. It's supposed to be there. So let's turn up the vibrancy on the visual. Let's turn up the feeling in your heart and your gut and your body. And just notice what came up for you. And let's start there. Let's start there with what you want, rather than feeling like you need to follow a certain formula. And then once you get to doing it, then think of these tools that we talked about today in the episode. All right, wiggle your fingers and your toes. Give yourself a smile. Thanks for being here with us today. Blink your eyes open. And if you loved that, tell us. Let us know. Connect with us.
Yes. And share it with a friend.
Yeah.
Because you never know how it might help them too. So
that's right.
We are pumped. We are here every week to help you get healthy, connect to your relationships, and enjoy your life. So we hope that we have helped you do that. And we want to continue to support you in all the ways we can. So enjoy the rest of your day. Woo-hoo! And know that we are cheering for you.
Cheering for you.